Welcome back to RPTV Weekly News Show. My name is Ryan and my co-hosts are Jabin, Fred, and Victoria.
We present news at impacts on Regent Park and the surrounding areas. In this episode, we present the following news for the week of April 20th to April 27, 2023.
SDP Planning Committee allocates operational funds to the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee. Daniels Corporation presents the Regent Park Spotlight Report on April 4th, 2023. Regent Park celebrates Eid Bazaar and Market 2023. A new condo coming to Parliament Street displacing the 509 Dance Studio. Regent Park resident Stephanie Beattie speaks about revitalization and rezoning. City of Toronto launches Identify and Impact Youth Grant Program on March 22nd, 2023. City of Toronto launches new housing data hub as part of Housing Action Plan. COVID-19 and vaccination update, DTE Vaccine Engagement Team celebrates appreciation event as project comes to an end. Events and jobs in Regent Park community. SDP Planning Committee allocates operational funds to the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee. The Regent Park Social Development Plan, also known as the SDP, is a community-wide initiative aimed at fostering community collaboration, cohesion, and inclusion. The Social Development Plan is constructed by 4 areas of priority, each represented by a working group. The working groups are community building, the safety network, employment and economic development, communications. The working groups are guided by SDP Planning Committee that meets weekly. On March 30th, 2023, the SDP Planning Committee meeting took place on Zoom and was facilitated by Walid Kagali Ali, a resident and the co-chair of the Community Building Working Group. The primary agenda item was a request to use SDP operational funds to resource the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee.
We have a funding request to provide $400 to each of the champions within the process, and to provide some funding for a few larger meetings where all of the different champions and the people who are working within the working groups and committees can get together and do this on a larger, as a group. So the funding request basically has money for the champions, it has money for meeting costs, and it has the trustee administrative fee. And this is a process that is time sensitive because we want to get it done on the cycle that we had originally prepared to do this.
The second agenda was a discussion about the Regent Park Legacy Funds and who may apply to it.
Daniels Corporation presents the Regent Park Spotlight Report on April 4th, 2023. The Daniels Corporation, the World Urban Pavilion in Regent Park, and the Social Development Plan Pavilion Work Group organized the Regent Park Spotlight Report presentation on April 4th, 2023 to provide Regent Park community members an opportunity to learn about Daniels' work in the neighborhood. In January 2023, Daniels released its second annual impact report entitled Bringing Impact to Life 2021 to 2022 Impact Report. Included in the report is Daniels' account of their involvement in the Regent Park revitalization. The report shares what Daniel considers the 6 key building blocks of inclusive communities and discusses how they have utilized these approaches in Regent Park over the last 17 years. The presentation began with opening remarks by Alex Venuto, World Urban Pavilion Acting Deputy Director, and Marlene DeGenova, SDP Pavilion Work Group Co-Chair. After opening remarks and land acknowledgement, Fatima Saya of the Daniels Corporation presented the Regent Park Spotlight Report.
In January 2023, Daniels released our second annual impact report, and included in it was a spotlight report on our work in Regent Park over the last 17 years. And we chose Regent Park as our focus for the spotlight report because we wanted to share our Regent Park story. As we wrap up our work in phases 1 to 3 over the next several years, our role in the community is changing. This evolution gives us an opportunity to reflect on our work, both on the successes and the lessons learned. And there are so many accounts of the Regent Park story and the Regent Park revitalization out there in the world. And our goal for this report was to share our experience in our own words and present how our approach to building inclusive communities, which is based on 39 years of experience as a developer builder in the GTA, was applied here. Right from the get-go, our team set out to meet as many local stakeholders as possible. Our president and CEO, Mitchell Cohen, and partner in charge of the revitalization, Martin Blake, embarked on countless listen and learn tours to hear from and understand the diverse perspectives of community members and local social service agencies in respect to the revitalization. What places and programs would bring people of diverse cultural backgrounds together? How could those initiatives be financed? How could the stigma associated with Regent Park be overcome and the psychological barriers between Regent Park and neighboring communities be torn down? How could the revitalization be leveraged as a platform for local economic development? How could residents share their history and lived experiences with the rest of the city? Feedback from these early conversations was extremely valuable and enabled our team to work with the community to chart a course with respect to the most important social infrastructure investments. The relationship we built during that time also allowed us to create feedback loops that have helped us respond to emergent community needs, iterate, and innovate with community partners. Over the course of our work in Regent Park, we have heard from community residents, grassroots groups, and agencies that priorities outlined in the Regent Park Social Development Plan are crucial to a successful revitalization. As a result, delivering on the SDP became a core part of our understanding of our responsibility to the community and a key part of our development approach in phases 1, 2, and 3. In response to community priorities, we've supported a number of community events and initiatives that create opportunities for social cohesion and community building. We've also supported training and employment programs directed particularly towards youth and purchased local art, supported community safety initiatives, and others. We also contributed $250,000 of seed funding to support the United Way in launching a $1 million social impact investment fund. And this was important because it was locally led and locally invested in the SDP.
Fatima Saya invited Mitchell Cohen, Hila Omar Kyle, and Remo Agostino of the Daniels Corporation for a panel discussion. After the panel discussion, Walid Kogali, member of the Regent Park SDP Pavilion Work Group, facilitated the Q&A. The event ended with a dinner and discussion at tables.
Regent Park celebrates Eid Bazaar and Market 2023. On Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, the Regent Park community celebrated Eid Bazaar and Market 2023 at the Daniel Spectrum, 585 Dundas Street East from 3 to 8 p.m. The event was brought by the Center for Learning and Development, Mothers of Peace, Daniels, TCHC, Artscape, and the City of Toronto. Regent Park residents came to shop and support local vendors offering women's clothes, jewelry, crafts, cotton candy, popcorn, food, henna, and more. RPTV News was at the Bazaar to talk to community members and local vendors.
My name is Suraya. My last name is Ibrahim. So the importance of the event is, as you know, in Regent Park, a huge population of Muslim community reside here. It's one way of creating a sense of belonging and doing events related to the Holy Months. We just be finishing on Friday. So people want to do shopping for the Eid, doing henna for their kids, for themselves, and buying Eid clothes and art, or snacks. All it's here in the same building. So they could come by and drop by if it is live and support the local vendors. All the vendors are from Regent Park as well. We have different backgrounds who are the vendors are in the community as well. The Center for Community Learning and Development is the lead organization. Most of the heavy lifting is done by Mother's Peace. Most of them who are volunteers, and also some of them who are taking a lead, and they get paid honorarium to organize and help set up and cleaning all of the stuff is done by a mother space who are Regent Park residents as well.
My name is Manal, and I'm an artist. So I'm selling cards, just like this, for now, Eid cards. And also I sell greeting cards that are made out of watercolor that I hand make myself. I also sell bookmarks that are also watercolor. I really like using the medium. And also sticker sheets, depending on what theme I'm selling. So right now I have some Eid theme sticker sheets. I also have some from fall, and they're kind of just clearance. But yeah, that's really it. I really like art, and I want to share my love for art with people by creating art and selling it so people get to enjoy it too. Events just like this Eid Bazaar are important to the community because it's a place where everyone can connect and I guess also celebrate the spirit of Eid better. And I guess that's really it. Just make us more united.
Hi, my name is Farhana, and my shop is called Sari House. It's an Instagram shop, so it's sharihouse.by.ruhi. So I sell saris. Most of them are traditional saris. I have some affordable. I have very fancy ones as well, and then I also have potli bags. These. And then I have some clutches. That's all what I have for now. I'm bringing in clothing for kids and men, kurta and pajamas. This community is very diverse, and there's a lot of different people here, and we enjoy each other's diversity and the company of each other. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Muslims who celebrate Eid, and this is a great opportunity to shop and do the Eid Bazaar in your local community.
My name is Omaira Montoya, and I am teaching from Janet Street Mission. I teach how to make jewelry. I enjoy to share with other ladies from the Regent Park. I am happy with the people the Regent Park, and I like to stay here to sell and to show the eatings that you make. I have bangles. We made it. I have lava bracelet. It's aromatherapy bracelets from women and men. I have this necklace. It's from the bees are from Colombia, from the sea, from the tree. Butterfly. We made it with different kind of bees. I enjoy a lot making this kind of bees. It's nice because it doesn't contaminate the air.
Regent Park resident Stephanie Beattie speaks about revitalization and rezoning in Regent Park. The Regent Park resident Stephanie Beattie, a passionate follower of the Regent Park redevelopment plan, had the opportunity to talk to RPTV reporter Gabriel Massier about his involvement in advocacy and redevelopment issues, and also shared her unique insights into the whole revitalization process. Stephanie also spoke about a comment she made in a recent community meeting where she stated that she had knowledge that the Toronto Housing Corporation and the City of Toronto, who share responsibility in the revitalization project, are not bound to keep social housing units beyond 25 years. Stephanie explained her sense of how the original vision of the Regent Park revitalization was very much different to what we have today. She also spoke about the issue of rezoning and how the shift in developing priorities have altered both physical and social development of Regent Park in phases 1, 2, 3, and now 4 and 5. Let's hear what Stephanie has to say.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be involved in the RPNA?
Sure. I moved into Regent Park in late 2015. I bought a condo here and I've been living here ever since. I moved from Cabbagetown, so not very far away, just on the other side of Gerrard, but kind of a world away. I mean, very, very different neighborhoods. And I was really excited about the revitalization and the vision for this community being, so diverse as the city itself. And so that really appealed to me. And because it was under development, I knew that there were a lot of issues for the community to get engaged in. And so I ended up informally volunteering in different capacities, and then heard about the RPNA that was just reforming at that point. So I got involved and worked on advocacy and got involved in redevelopment issues, and just kind of went from there. I was involved directly for about 4 years, I guess.
Nice. Okay. We understand that the original vision for the revitalization was very much different to what we have today. What is your sense of how and why that happened? And what are some of the key principles that have guided the revitalization project?
So if you look at the neighborhood today, we're sitting in phase 2. Phase 1 is just over there. And these 2 phases followed the vision for Regent Park, which was predominantly low and mid-rise housing, like the original community, which is what was promised to the original inhabitants of Regent Park, that the character of their community wouldn't fundamentally change, or at least they would stop it from fundamentally changing as much as possible. And so that was one of the commitments. But then in 2013, 2014, all these things started to change behind the scenes. And residents weren't informed. I don't think City Council even was informed. The Toronto public wasn't informed. And they broke the contract that they had with Daniels. They rezoned. And if you look over here, you can see the difference. That's phase 3. All of a sudden, much higher buildings, much greater density. And they did that in order to save the last phase, to take it back from Daniels so they could retender it later down the line to all developers who are interested. And when that happened, Tridel won the bid, and they now want to rezone again to increase the density even more. And what they want to do is turn the final phases of Regent Park into a high-rise, intensive high-rise development. So fundamentally changing the character of the community that was committed to, and that is committed to in the document that's called the secondary plan for Regent Park. Regent Park, the revitalization, was enabled through rezoning. So there was originally a community here of I don't know how many people, but there were 2,000 units, 2,100 units. And to pay for the refurbishment of the old housing to make it better, they decided to do a revitalization and add a bunch of condos. And this partnership with a private developer would pay for the replacement of the old housing. So that was the original vision, and they went forward with that. And then again, it was contract renegotiations. Nobody really knows what happened in 2014. It all happened behind the scenes. And so they broke the contract with Daniels. Excuse me. They broke the contract with Daniels. and renegotiated it in order to ensure that Daniels got to build as many of the units as they were promised. They intensified phase 3, gave Daniels phase 3. They doubled the size of it. They increased the density of it. They added 2,000 more condos. So, I mean, Regent Park is ostensibly about affordable housing, but the priority has really been given to condominiums. So not just the original 2,500 that were added, but then the next 2,000 that were added, and now a few thousand more are going to be added. And so to accommodate that, they have to change the physical nature of this project, and it's turning into a high-rise development. And it's a shame because it was never supposed to be that.
Can you re-explain to me the 3 phases?
So there originally, when the revitalization was launched, it had 6 phases. And 1 is there, this is number 2, that's number 3, and then 4, 5, 6 were going to be over there. When they rezoned, they changed those phases. They doubled the size of phase 3 and gave it back to Daniels, and then they got rid of phase 6, and then phases 4 and 5 were taken out of the contract with Daniels so that it could be retendered competitively later on, which is what happened in 2019, 2020. And Tridel, which is a much bigger developer, much wealthier developer, they won the final phases, and they've really pushed to turn this into a high-rise development.
What does retendered mean?
So when government, because Toronto Community Housing is like a crown corporation. They're owned by the City of Toronto, and they're the landlord across the city for all community housing, for Toronto Community Housing. And they owned this whole neighborhood originally, but it had fallen into disrepair and was in a really bad state, you can see from the old housing. So they didn't have the money to fix it, and the people who lived here pushed for many, many years for the city to treat this community more fairly, to make sure the housing was decent, to make sure that there were amenities. And so Toronto Community Housing and the city finally said, you know what, let's do this through a private-public partnership. So we'll get a private developer to come in, and they'll help pay for it. We'll help pay for it through bringing condominium buildings into the community. And so it seemed like a great plan, and it was years in the making, getting all stakeholders to agree to it. And when they decided they were going to go ahead with it, to find that private sector developer, they tendered a proposal, a request for proposals, and said to all the developers who are interested in working with us on this, give us your proposal, and then we'll choose one. And so they did that, and they chose Daniels. They gave the whole thing to Daniels, and publicly, and then secretly, they broke that contract behind the scenes so that they could take out those last 2 phases and retender them again in the future.
One of the things that emerged from your original comment was that no one else seems to have known about it. How do you think that happened? And do you have any sense that, in fact, the social housing units are scheduled to be discontinued?
So I think the Regent Park revitalization is very complicated. And there are a lot of things that people aren't aware of just because it is so complicated. So the fact that the rebuild of the rent geared to income units are only protected for 25 years, and then Toronto Community Housing doesn't have to keep them as social housing after that point. I think a lot of people don't know that. I think a lot of people also don't know that of the original 2,100 units that existed here, in the early days, 300 were actually built off-site. So they weren't replaced in the Regent Park footprint. And people don't know about that either.
And what does that mean, that they were built off-site?
It means that when the revitalization took place, the city and Toronto Community Housing said to the residents here, look, we're going to replace every single one of your units with new housing here in Regent Park. But the caveat was, except for 300 units, which were actually going to build off the Regent Park footprint. But people didn't know that. And what I've heard is that people who ended up being moved to those units didn't realize that they were going to be moved out of the community permanently.
I see. So they don't experience the same benefits that the people in the community experience?
But they don't get to come back.
I see. What does that mean?
It means that they lived in Regent Park and that was their community, and as a result of the revitalization, they were forced to live somewhere else.
I see. So they were actually pushed out of the community.
Well, I mean, that's what people say. I mean, it was apparently voluntary, but I've heard, and it's anecdotal, a lot of people don't speak English as a first language, or they were older, and they didn't understand that when they agreed to move into those units off the Regent Park footprint, that they actually would not be able to come back.
Wow. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And what do you think the future holds for Regent Park in terms of the mixed income and mixed US neighborhood?
Well, I mean, my fear is that they're making the same mistake over again with Regent Park, kind of applying principles to this neighborhood that they would never apply anywhere else. Certainly not to white, wealthy neighborhoods.
Right.
The problem with Regent Park before is that it was kind of physically cut off from the rest of the neighborhoods around it, and also that it was just chronically neglected by the landlord. And that's happening again. There's chronic neglect of the new buildings. You can see it.
These buildings?
Well, those are condos, but that's community housing. And as far as I know, they're into like year 3 since they broke ground on that building. So not meeting deadlines, not working with any urgency to actually replace the community housing that needs to be replaced. These are old, they're standing mostly empty.
So why have most of these buildings been uninhabited?
So the revitalization was supposed to happen within 12 to 15 years. We're now into the 17th year and we're nowhere near complete. So there have been massive delays caused by the rezoning and caused by the constant intensification and adding of condo units to the plan for the revitalization. So everyone should have been in their new homes by now.
And it was the private third parties that made all these condos, these high-rise, like these constant rebuilding of high-rises a factor.
So no, I mean, I think it really, if you're going to say someone's to blame for this not being completed yet after 17 years and condos becoming the priority over community housing, it would be Toronto Community Housing who's responsible for that, but especially Toronto City Council, because they're responsible for oversight of this project and they have not provided any oversight of this project in 17 years. The Auditor General of Toronto issued a report 2 years ago indicating that there's been no reporting on the finances, the outcome, or the impact of the revitalization in the 17 years that it's been underway. So nobody knows how much it's costing. Nobody knows kind of what the state is of, the residents who are living in Toronto community housing and what happened to them, what it's costing, Toronto community housing to pay to keep all these buildings in place, even though the majority of those units are empty. So it's really Toronto City Council and the city and the planning department who keeps approving rezonings without asking for an accounting of where we're at with this redevelopment.
I see. So what would have to change? What do you think would be the steps that they would have to take to make this better?
So I think it's irresponsible for the city to approve yet another rezoning, especially when it's going to radically change the physical and social character of this community. I think they should be asking fundamental questions about what's going on with this redevelopment and why aren't we just getting it done? And why are we having, during a housing crisis, 600 units, most of which are standing empty, while people are waiting for affordable units, while people who are living here have been waiting for their new unit for 17 years. And they're being asked, some people now are being forced now to leave the community, to wait outside the community after waiting in housing being managed to demolition for 17 years. And a lot of people who got to move into the new units of Toronto Community Housing are in units that are too small for them because Toronto Community Housing has pushed off replacing all the family-sized units to the 2 final phases. So some families had to make the decision if they wanted to remain in their community, they have to live in an apartment that's too small for them.
Wow. Yeah. Is this Toronto City Council / the community housing catering to wealthier people? Is that one of the bigger issues that's?
Well, I think some of it was catering to the developer and just not being sophisticated enough to really understand how to manage a project of this type. I mean, Regent Park was the first project of its kind. And I think Toronto Community Housing just didn't have the capacity to manage it. So they really needed oversight by the city, but they didn't get it. And then, you know, intensifying a neighborhood like Regent Park. And Regent Park is pretty unique in downtown Toronto. It's unbelievably diverse, where Cabbagetown to the north and King of Parliament area to the south are majority white, wealthy inhabitants of those neighborhoods. And here, like, it's truly diverse, truly reflective of the city. And I think in order to protect the white, wealthy, single-family home neighborhoods from having to consider any additional density, like not triplexes, not duplexes, not garden suites, is to take a neighborhood like Regent Park and to intensify it beyond what the city allows in terms of its building guidelines and what's actually allowed in the plan that exists for Regent Park. I think they exploit neighborhoods like this for their own interests. And, you know, Daniels is a private company. They were the first developer. Tridel is a private company. They have their own interests in mind. Toronto Community Housing has an obligation as a publicly funded organization to be a little more circumspect, I think, and a little more public interest oriented. But I think they got caught up in their own mismanagement. Like, they want to hide all the negative stories associated with Regent Park. And so they just push on. Like, they lost so much money in the 2014 rezoning. Toronto Community Housing lost their shirt in that renegotiation of the contract. They didn't even have enough money to complete that building there. The city of Toronto had to borrow over $100 million to complete that building.
Did that have to do with them trying to hide this negative history?
Well, their behind the scenes renegotiation of the contract was a very dumb renegotiation of the contract from the perspective of Toronto Community Housing and the city, because they lost a lot of money on that. So I think they don't want that story to be told. It makes them look bad. And the city doesn't want that story to be told because it also makes them look bad. And there's lots of great things going on in Regent Park, so that's where they put the focus, but they're really pulling the wool over people's eyes with respect to the latest rezoning and who benefits from that. Certainly not Toronto public or Regent Park residents or people who are living in this neighborhood.
A new condo coming to Parliament Street would displace the 509 Dance Studio. Recently, the Canadian Contemporary Dance Theatre's owners announced that their school, located at 509 Parliament Street, will be moving to a new location in August 2024, after almost 30 years of making 509 Dance their home. Last week, Cabbagetown Review blog reported the Streetwise Capital Projects has submitted a plan to the City of Toronto for an 11-story condo to be built on the 509 Parliament. It would also include 505, 507 Parliament, where Nadia Jolloff Lounge, formerly Pear Tree, is located. The plan calls for a building that's 120 feet high with 85 residential and 3 commercial units. The initial project report acknowledges the sites of history, but also notes that it is also a designated heritage property. There's no mention of the 45 feet limit that has dominated recent construction proposals along the street. City of Toronto launches new housing data hub as part of Housing Action Plan. Recently, the City of Toronto launched the new Housing Data Hub, a centralized and publicly accessible source for information and data related to housing in the city. The Housing Data Hub is an early and key deliverable under the new Housing Action Plan 2022 to 2026. The new Housing Data Hub aims to improve accountability and transparency by tracking the city's progress on creating more housing in Toronto. The hub will help publicly showcase the city's clear and cohesive approach to enabling housing production to achieve or exceed the provincial housing target of 285,000 new Toronto homes in the next 10 years. It will also help to track the city's progress towards meeting its Housing TO 2020 to 2030 action plan target of approving 40,000 affordable rental homes by 2030.
City of Toronto launches Identified and Impact Youth Grant Program 2023. On March 22, 2023, the City of Toronto launched another round of the Identify and Impact Youth Grant Program. The purpose of the Identified and Impact Grant Program is to help to promote youth engagement and community safety throughout the City of Toronto. Youth who have a great idea that needs funding to improve and help make an impact in their communities can apply for this grant. The deadline to apply is May 2nd, 2023 at 12 p.m. noon. Up to $17,000 in funding is available for each youth-led project. Additional funds are available for accessibility supports. Projects that engage Indigenous, African, Caribbean, Black, 2SLGBTQ+ youth, as well as those that engage youth in Toronto's 31 neighborhood improvement areas will be prioritized. More information about the Identify and Impact Grant Program is available on the City of Toronto website.
DTE Vaccine Engagement Team celebrates appreciation event as project comes to an end. On April 12, 2023, the Downtown East Community Vaccine Engagement Consortium marked the end of a 2-year vaccine engagement project with the appreciation event at the 519 Church Street. To acknowledge the monumental effort in building confidence and access to vaccines for Toronto's diverse Downtown East and Regent Park residents in response for the COVID-19 pandemic in difficult times. The celebration had food from Tien Bannock, DJ and dancing, ambassador photo voice exhibit, and lots of warmth and appreciation to the invaluable ambassador teams. Partners and social services agencies who provided support and guidance along the way to have direct positive impacts on the health outcomes of Downtown East residents, often disconnected from meaningful, low-barrier health services and supports. RPTV news reporter Fred Alvarado was at the 519 to interview community members.
Hi everyone, my name is Barb. I work at the 519 Community Center, which was the lead agency for the Downtown East Vaccine Engagement Team from 2021 to March 2022. I'm very proud of the work that we did together, and I think the most important thing that we did was building a structure that we can keep together to build more access to health and vaccines to our communities who need so much support, especially as we recover from COVID-19. I'm very grateful for Focus, for Regent Park Community Health Center, for Sherborne, ASAP, Progress Place, Sunshine Center for Seniors. We have so many partners. There's like key to everything that we do. And I hope we can continue because that was the good thing that came out of everything that happened to us. So thank you very much. So the vaccine engagement photo voice was made from Nadia Pabani. She was the lead from Regent Park in 2021. So her idea was to put together a way that we could register what ambassadors did alongside their work, because they were like boots on the ground. They are the ones actually doing the direct engagement with community members, increasing vaccine uptake, answering questions. So that was just our way to for them to have the voice to explain how that work was going for them. The first round was in 2021, where it was more about how people are scared, about being lonely, things of that kind. And then the second round, which took place in the fall 2022, was more about like the consequences of everything that had happened to us. So increasing homelessness, food insecurity, people disbelief after the policies along masking and mandatory vaccination came out. So we changed it a little bit, and it's beautiful to have it here at the 519, and hopefully we'll have Regent Park very soon.
My name is Nadia Pabani, and I was a vaccine ambassador lead, or vaccine engagement lead with Regent Park Community Health Center. And I'm a partner, we were a partner with the 519 on the vaccine engagement project. So I had the opportunity to run a photo voice evaluation, which is basically an arts-informed evaluation technique where we're giving cameras to the ambassadors and saying, hey, you're doing all this great work, and we're capturing it by all these numbers, so the amount of people you talk to, but we know the impact you're having is bigger than the numbers, and we want to capture it somehow. So here's a camera. Tell us what were the best things about being a vaccine ambassador and the worst things about being a vaccine ambassador. And then they came back with their pictures that represented it, and they gave narratives to those pictures. So we had this great evaluation from the pictures that participants took, attached to the words that they used to describe their experiences. So it's a great and really impactful project, and I had the opportunity to facilitate that, and I saw the results, which were absolutely phenomenal.
I work as a population health promoter with Inner City Health Associates.
I'm Chris. I'm the health promotion and system specialist at Sherborne Health.
So I think we started with the Downtown East approximately 2 years ago as a health promoter at Inner City Health. We provide different trainings for health ambassadors just to ensure that they're building their skill sets, that we're enhancing their capacities in order for them to go and talk with clients smoothly, just talk about the COVID-19 vaccines, have a smooth conversation with them and address any concerns or questions they have around vaccines, because they're really a bridge between our healthcare providers and the sector itself. So really, health ambassadors are a core and a very important factor within our program that really promoted the vaccination and led to decreasing hesitancy and increasing confidence within it. So yeah.
I've had the joy to collaborate with them and provide some other trainings on communicating scientific information, having community conversations, as well as a plethora of other health promotion skills. So it's been really great to work with a team who's so strong in health promotion and really shares that same vision.
I'm very emotional right now because it's been a very tough 2 years. So really, again, the health ambassadors just going out there and creating this healthy community during very rough times where everyone was really isolating and alone. So yeah, I have mixed emotions. I don't want to deal with COVID-19 or any emerging issues. But yeah, I really wish the health ambassadors all the luck, and hopefully they take all the skill sets they learn in their future endeavors.
Yes. Yeah, and I joined on about a year ago, and I think the Downtown East Consortium really highlighted what a family was in a workspace, and I think we had our tensions and our agreements, and we worked so well together in the end, and I think it was just something so beautiful that even though I joined 1 year ago, I feel so forever tied to this project and the people that are in the project.
When I look at you all, when I think and reflect on this work, I'm so proud of you all. I'm so, so, so proud of all of you. And like what we have built is incredible. I'm doing the emotions thing.
I'm I'm from St. Jamestown Community Corner. Today I want to say thank you to everyone because it was a great event that we came together everyone to celebrate our achievements, what we have done during the pandemic. So I want to say thank you to especially for the community ambassadors who did amazing work in the community during the pandemic, reaching out to many residents in the communities to provide vaccines that they would like to get it. So again, I want to say thank you to all the service providers who've been working day and night to get things all together and provide the support that communities need. Thank you so much.
And now for events and jobs in the Regent Park community. TCHC and Tridal invites you to the Regent Park Community Benefits Launch event. Process to determine $26.8 million in community benefits. Join this event on Wednesday, April 26, 2023 from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at Daniel Spectrum, Free admission. For more information, please contact Talk Regent Park at torontohousing.ca or call 437-231-7874. A City of Toronto virtual community consultation meeting to learn more about the planning application for Regent Park, phases 4 and 5. The WebEx meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, from 6 to 8 p.m. To register, visit toronto.ca/CP consultations. Chris Moyes, Ward 13, Toronto Centre City Councillor, invites you to the Constituency Office Grand opening event at 329 Parliament Street, Dundas and Parliament on Saturdays, April 29th, starting at 1 p.m. Join this event to celebrate the opening of the inaugural Constituency Office for Toronto Centre. Women's Soccer Tournament 2023 is happening on Saturday, April 29th, 2023 at the Regent Park South Ice Rink from 4 to 8 p.m. For more information, contact info@tfaa.ca or call 437-434-8322. Coffee with the Cop. Join this event to meet your neighborhood police officers at 563 Sherbourne Street on Thursdays, May 4, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, contact St. Jamestown at torontopolice.on.ca. Job opportunities in Regent Park. Regent Park Community Health Center is looking for data processing assistant/reception. Part-time permanent position, 18 hours per week. Hourly range, 20 to 24 plus opportunity to participate in a pension plan. Submit your resume and cover letter at jobs@regentparkchc.org. TCHC Youth Works. Youth Works employs young people ages 14 to 29 to do community cleanups, light repair jobs, painting, community gardening, and beautification. If you're interested in making a difference in your community, bring your resume and 2 references to one of the following recruitment sessions. Deadline to register is Friday, April 28th, 2023. Candidates must be available to work Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. from July 4th to August 25th, 2023. If you have questions, please contact hireyouth@torontohousing.ca. Apply for Bolt Woman in Construction Scholarship and Mentorship. Successful applicants receive $500 and are connected to a female mentor from their own or similar construction skilled trade. TCHC and Tridel, calling all small business owners in Regent Park. Are you a Regent Park resident with a small business? Do you offer catering, photography, create handmade goods or other goods and services? Join their small business directory and get connected to business opportunities in the community. If you have questions, email csr@tridel.com. Daniel Spectrum Summer Series calls for proposals. Community partners. Deadline to apply Friday, April 28th, 2023 at 5 p.m. And that was all for events and jobs in the community. See you next week.
And that's all for today's show. My name is Fred and my co-hosts are Ryan, Jabin, and Victoria. We'd like to thank our team of researchers that contributed for this week's show. And from our studios at Focus Media Arts Center, thanks for watching and see you next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.